Happy Sunday of Awakening, y'all. Alright, so for our next speaker, I would like to introduce to y'all my friend Adam. He's absolutely shout out to 17 right there. Yes. So a little bit about Adam. He is incredibly funny and an incredibly friendly person, super involved in sports, and he gets smiles out here. So he's a junior psychology major. He was 108. And I don't know if y'all saw him at the dance party last night, but he has some super slick pop dance moves. Pretty great. So when I asked him what his most embarrassing moment was, he said, way back when I was in second grade, I remember learning about Moses in my religion class. My teacher was trying to make some profound point to us and quoted something saying, God doesn't... I am tripping over my words here. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So she went on to say how he doesn't ask for great people, and he makes those people great. But that went right over my head because I'm like 7, and I said, oh, well, I guess God doesn't ask me to do anything. And I got really sad. Funny little 7-year-olds. I love 7-year-old stories. All right, and then finally I asked him why he's Catholic, and he said the Eucharist, period. Emphasis on the period, because that's it. All right, I'd like to go ahead and lead a prayer over God. Heavenly Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, come. And thank you for the gifts of Adam. Thank you for the words that you are about to share with your children's spirit. Christ, that you lift up his heart and his mind to you. That you lift up hearts and minds of all his retreaters. You open their ears to hear what you have to say. Please, Lord, please, Lord, grace, please, Lord, light, please, Lord, mercy.
So as Abigail said, my name is Adam Garcia, and this is the Palanca Talk. What is Palanca? Why is Palanca important? And how can you use Palanca? These are 3 very important questions, and I hope to answer each of them in turn. But in order to do that, in typical Aggie fashion, I got a little story for you, Ags. It was the fall of my freshman year at Texas A&M, and I was signed up for Aggie Awakening 108. I wasn't really sure what to expect on this retreat, but my older brother Aaron was all for it. He was going to staff the retreat. He's like, I'll be praying for you. And I was like that avocado kid, like, thanks. Fast forward to the retreat, and I find myself on Faith Walk. That thing where you have a blindfold carry across, right? There I am with my table family. We're all lined up. And eventually it's my turn to do the faith walk, so I step up and they put that cross on my shoulder. Immediately I have 2 thoughts. The first was, wow, they made crosses for us, that's neat. The second thought was, I don't want to break this thing. Like, I'm not an engineering major, but I'm pretty sure scraping it on the ground isn't good for the structural integrity. Like, you need more tensile strength or concrete, I don't know. I'm a soft science major. But the conclusion of those two thoughts is, I need to literally carry this cross. So I pick it up, and I start walking. But it took me about 3 steps to remember, I don't work out. And so by like the 3rd or 4th station, I'm starting to sweat, I'm starting to shake. And by the 6th station, past the demons saying discouraging things and onto the angels saying encouraging things, like, I feel a burning in my core. And it wasn't the fire of the Holy Spirit. My abs were dying. So I'm like, no, let's go. And I carry that crossfire, I keep walking. This entire time, I'm not paying attention to what people are going to say to me, right? Like, I'm so focused on carrying that cross. That is until I get to the 9th station. I walk up, this girl says something to me. I don't know what she said, I wasn't paying attention. But then a thought crosses my mind. I know this girl. She's in SMIRT, the same organization at St. Mary's. And that recognition helped me take a mental step back and process exactly what was happening. She was reaching out and trying to grab the cross. She was trying to lift it up. But I was so caught up in trying to carry it myself that I wasn't letting her. And I didn't let the 3 people before her carry it either. So I took a deep breath and set down my cross, and let her lift it up. Let her lift up my burden, lift up my struggle. Let her be Palanca. Palanca. What is Palanca? That first question? What is Palanca? Well, it's the Spanish word for lever. Not lover, like I love you, lever, like the simple machine that you push one end and the other side goes up. We use this imagery of a lever to represent an important part of the Christian life. That as a seed, you are supposed to lift up others and are lifted up yourself. Now, Palanca takes 2 forms, 2 ways to lift up others or be lifted up. And if we're thinking of levers, imagine the first form as a crowbar and the second form as a seesaw. So this first form of Palanca, it's a crowbar because it's specific and direct. We call this service. In this, you have the desire for the good of someone or something, and you express that desire through your actions. For example, that girl saw me struggling to carry the cross, and saw that I needed help. So she had this desire for my good, and she expressed that desire by literally lifting the weight off of my back. So that's the first form of Palanca, right? Like lifting up others through your actions, service. The second form of Palanca is a seesaw. Because it's a lot bigger, wider scale, you can carry a lot more. And this is called prayer. In this case too, you also have the desire for the good of someone or something. But instead of expressing that desire yourself, you take that and entrust it to God. You place that desire in the Lord, as our theme says. By entrusting it to God and having faith in Him, it isn't just expressed through one person's actions, but through all of the marvelous and mysterious ways that God works. Tying back to the story, my older brother Aaron wanted me to encounter God that weekend. But he didn't express that desire himself. No, he entrusted it to God through prayer. And thanks to his prayer, I encountered God in my foolishness. And on Faith Walk, I learned something profound. Prayer is powerful, and prayer is Palanca. So that's the first question. What is Palanca? It's lifting up others through service and prayer. Which leads us to our second question. Why is Palanca important? Why do you need Palanca? Well, quite frankly, because we all need help. No matter how capable you are, no matter how strong, there's still moments when you start to sweat, when you start to shake, when you feel like your abs are metaphorically dying. Whether that's because of a sin you struggle with, or life just really sucks sometimes. There are moments when you need to be lifted up a little bit. And just like you weren't the only person to go on Faith Walk, everyone else went, you weren't the only person with a cross to carry. Everyone else has one too. But this is why we have the MBOC. Because the MBOC, Fully Alive, is a community that lifts each other up with service and prayer. The MBOC, Fully Alive, is a community filled with Palanca. So that's the second question. Why do we need Palanca? Why is Palanca important? Because we all need help. And that's the first question. What is Palanca? It is service and prayer, which leads us to our third question. How can you use Palanca? Well, if you think of a lever, there are two ends of it, right? The side that goes down, the giving end, and the side that goes up, the receiving end. So one way that you could use Palanca is to be on that giving end and lift up others in your life. It doesn't have to be big things. For example, if your roommate is really stressed out and has a bunch of tests, you could do the dishes or take out the trash. Simple ways to use your actions to lift up others. You could also pray for people, right? You don't have to say 50 rosaries. Just the next time you pray, be like, hey, God, my roommate's really stressed out. Please be with him. Thanks. So that's one way how you could use Palanca, right? Lift up others in your life. But I think it's more important, perhaps more pertinent, if we focus on the other end. Because sure, you could lift up others, but you also have to let yourself be lifted up. You also have to receive Palanca. You also have to, in the words of Diana Ledesma, let yourself be loved. Let yourself be loved. How often do we let our pride or some other barrier get in the way from receiving the help or prayers we need? Whether that's like me carrying that cross thinking, I don't need your help, I can do this on my own. Or if you ever sat there in line for confession thinking I don't deserve this mercy and forgiveness, and that guilt stops you from confessing sins. Or if you've ever just thought I don't want to bother my friends asking for prayers or help. There are more important things to pray about, more important things to do. These are all barriers that stop us from receiving Palanca, that stop us from receiving love. But if you become cognizant of those barriers, and if you realize that someone is trying to love you, it becomes that much easier to receive Palanca. That much easier to let go of that cross and let yourself be loved. So I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge you. Take that deep breath, let down your cross, and let yourself be loved. Now I said this is important and pertinent, and there's a reason for that. It's the same reason why my brother Aaron was praying for me on that retreat. Because while he was staffing, Aaron wasn't on table staff as a table parent. He wasn't on gopher staff as a gopher. He wasn't on music staff playing. And he wasn't even on cook staff, because that was still a thing. Rest in peace. No, Aaron was on prayer staff. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, there is another staff of awakening, prayer staff, or prep staff. These are other college students who gave up their weekend to pray for you. When you were there in confession, they were praying that you would encounter God in His mercy and forgiveness. When you were in adoration, they were praying that you would encounter God fully in the Eucharist. When you were dancing around, having fun, laughing at kids, eating food, they were praying that you would notice God in small moments. When you were on Faith Walk, they were praying that you would encounter something profound. They've been praying for you this entire weekend, and they will continue to pray for you on this retreat. But even more than that, even more than prayer staff, there have been religious communities all across the US. Heck, even a group from Africa, praying for you, lifting you up in prayer. These are some of the holiest men and women we know, taking time to pray for you. So let them. Let all of those holy religious, let all of prayer staff, and all of the MBOC be Palanca. Let them lift you up. Let them love you. Now I realize that's a bit hard to do. Aside from our own barriers that stop us from receiving Palanca, sometimes it's just hard to comprehend the fact that people are praying for you. Personally, I like visuals or tangible things. So we have a couple things for you. But first, in typical Aggie Awakening fashion, I got a little video for you, Ags. Here are just some of the people who have been praying for you on this retreat. Let them lift you up. Let them carry that burden, carry that cross. Let them be Palanca. Thank you.
So we awake to face the day, to start our day, the time to say, I'm glad to be alive, breathing right in. You and I are nothing new, just two old souls that'll fade into the everlasting grave. Before we fade, got a lot to do. 'Cause can't you see, this world is chaos and color. It's wild and strange, but it's what we do. If the weight of it ever tries to blow you under,